Welcome back, first graders. So we have been reading Henry and Mudge and the Big Sleepover. So before we start reading the next chapter, we want to review what we know about the story so far. And when we do that, we just want to focus on the big ideas. So the big ideas are going to include who is the story about and what is happening. So if I think about my who, it's Henry and Mudge. And what is happening? They were invited to a sleepover at their friend's house. So the story started with Henry and Mudge being invited to the sleepover. And when they got to the sleepover, everybody was really hyper. So the friend's mom and dad had them go up into the attic. So now our next chapter is called Giant Lizards. Now I'm looking on this picture and I don't see any lizards whatsoever. So I have to wonder, what is Giant Lizards going to be about? So make a prediction. Think about a time you've been to a sleepover. Think about what boys and dogs might do at a sleepover. It looks like they're playing lots of different games and things up in the attic. So I'm wondering if Giant Lizards is going to be some kind of game that the boys and the dogs play together. Okay, so let's read the chapter and find out. So make your prediction. What do you think Giant Lizards will be about? And then as we read through the chapter, think about if your prediction was right. So check your prediction. We also want to be thinking about how is the story moving forward. And we want to think about what are the important things for us to remember. All right, so Giant Lizards. Patrick had lots of games for the boys to play. There were board games and video games. There were little baskets and little balls. There was even a small bowling game. But no one could play it because Bulldog kept taking the pins. When it got dark, Patrick's mother brought pizza and the monster movies began. Oh, so now I'm changing my prediction. I've seen monster movies before, so I'm wondering if the giant lizards are going to be part of the monster movie. So notice how when we get more information, sometimes we change our predictions. The boys and dogs ate pizza and watched giant lizards eat entire towns. Oh, so I'm glad I changed my prediction when I got more information because the giant lizards are part of the monster movie. Kind of reminds me a little bit about Godzilla. Mudge would be a good monster, said one boy. Henry shook his head. No, said Henry. He just kisses everybody. Mudge wagged and kissed the piece of pizza in Henry's hand. I don't know, if I were Henry, I wouldn't want to eat that anymore. When the movies were over, the boys had a popcorn contest for the dogs. The dog who was the best popcorn catcher would win. Henry was sure Mudge would be the winner. Oh, so here it does look like it is raining popcorn, like Henry and Mudge thought might happen at the sleepover. But he wasn't. A poodle who did backflips to catch her pieces won. Henry didn't mind though. Mudge was still the only dog who can eat a whole bowl of popcorn in one bite. All right, so that was our chapter of giant lizards. So notice how sometimes we do need to change our predictions as we get more information. So first I was thinking giant lizards was going to be a game or a toy or something that they played with. But then when I got to the part about them starting to watch a monster movie, that made me think about how giant lizards sometimes are monsters. And then I changed my prediction to think that giant lizards was going to be about the monster movie, and it was. So I also want you to notice how our chapters are connected, because Henry and Mudge we're thinking that at the sleepover there'd be lots of popcorn and it might even rain popcorn. And this picture with the dog and popcorn eating contest definitely looks like it was raining popcorn. So notice how Cynthia Ryland kept her story moving forward by adding and connecting all of those pieces of the story. So now I want to think about what's the most important thing for me to remember from this chapter. So who was the chapter about? Henry and Mudge. And what was happening in this chapter? Well, the boys were playing games, eating pizza, watching monster movies, and having popcorn eating contests with the dogs. Those are the things I'd want to remember. All right, so tomorrow we'll finish up the story with our chapter In the Bag. So I think we already have a clue here on our page of what in the bag might be. But come back tomorrow to see how the story ends.